Unlike usually, where I just take a random commercial break before we even get started, why not just bring in Adam Levy now, the NLL stats guru that he is? It is time to talk to Adam Levy. John, who is John? Who is John, dude?
Oh, hi, Mike. Didn't see you there. This is just doing some reading of my favorite pizza place in the world, John's on Bleecker Street, New York City. The exact address is 278 Bleecker Street. It's old brick oven, almost 100 years old now. So if you want to go check it out, one of the best pizzas you'll ever have. So there you go, the plug for John's. My dad has been going to the same pizza place for 48 years, Mike. 48 years.
Two things. One, what did the Barstool guy give it as a rating? And two, did you just get cash out $20 after that?
Actually, Dave Portnoy went to John's, did his slice thing, and it was one of his highest ratings ever. I think it was like a 9.6 or something like that. He loved it. He was crazy about it, and he told everyone to go. And actually, knowing the guys at John's Pizza, they said that it was a huge boost to their business, as you would expect. But you get literal lines around the block on most days. It is something that you definitely need to have. And I know that Pat is saying in the chat here, no free ads. Well, John's is going to give me some free pizza, and I demand free pizza. Anyway, back to lacrosse.
It is an Adam. What's your name? Adam Levi Fridays here, and I have to ask you first, what was Preston's picks? And thank God it's been pushed. The deadline's back to 5:30.
Yes, I should have done that earlier in the season. I don't know why I didn't. He has not made his picks yet. He is actually going to be doing them once he gets back from his morning activities. He's waiting a little bit, which will be nice, so he can get them last minute. Also builds a little excitement. But as soon as he makes his picks, that video will be up on my Twitter at Adam Levi NLL. So make sure to watch that adorable young boy make his awesome picks. And you'll also know who Nikki picked for this week as well.
I usually keep an eye on hers through the Preston's page, but I have to scroll a little bit because she's, not very good at it. I'm kidding.
Well, so Nikki picks by logo generally, and as well as an artist, she wanted to do it that kind of way. But also she does watch some of the games. But yeah, it's mostly from an artistic sense that she makes her picks.
I appreciate the efforts there. 6:30 tonight Eastern time. The New York, not yet. The Buffalo Bills play the Halifax Thunderbirds from Nova Scotia. A doubleheader for Halifax. And do you think this will be a playoff atmosphere? Because I'm kind of getting the vibes of that.
I mean, it's a playoff game for sure. So I think, like in the sense that you're talking about, it is going to be a hugely consequential and important game, I think, to see where both teams are right now. Both teams looking pretty good of late, but as I actually just tweeted out recently, the surprising thing for Buffalo, they've allowed 58 total goals over their last 4 games, and the last time they allowed that many goals over a 4-game stretch was the 2017-2018 season. You just don't expect to see that kind of defense or lack of defense from them, lack of goaltending. But I think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. Halifax having a bit of a tricky situation. Again, something I was researching. They played 2 games this weekend. We'll get to the second game in a little bit, but they have not won any games when they have 2 games in one weekend. And that's happened. That's since they moved to Halifax. So when they play 2 games in one weekend, they actually end up losing both of those games. So not really good history for Halifax, considering the fact that they do have 2 games this weekend.
Wow, that is interesting. How many times has that happened, you said?
I think it's 5 times that it's happened since the 2019-2020 season.
Interesting. I like this stat. By the way, I've got to show the graphics, so there you go.
And I will get more pictures on the internet. Nikki posts a lot of pictures of me all the time. I don't share a lot of myself. But thank you, Producer Joe, for the awesome graphic.
It's amazing. All right, next up, hey, it's the Montreal game. First of all, Adam, what do you get on your poutine fries? I've never had them.
So when I actually moved to Canada 8 years ago, about 9 years ago, I moved to Montreal for a month before I moved to Vancouver, and so I binged on poutine for a long time. I'm really just a simple gravy and cheese curds guy. Maybe a smoked Montreal smoked meat. I feel you would have to add on there, and I did, but it's just so heavy. Like when I was in my mid 20s, I could eat that stuff. Now I fall asleep for the rest of the day if I had half of a poutine. So it is delicious. It is comforting, and I can say that when it's minus 30 degrees with a minus 50 wind chill, it really is comforting to have nice poutine. But yeah, I would just be kind of simple and then add the smoked meat there.
What are you, 50? Anyways,
I
so
feel 50 often.
too much work. Toronto Rock, New York Riptide. Shout out to you and Teddy Jenner, who did a mid-season awards and nominees, which was a nice touch in there. 7:00 tonight, though. I said this before, and I'm glad you guys had him as a nominee. I think you did. Cameron Dunkerley, is he making a case for goalie of the year?
I think that the way he's been playing of late, and also you got to give credit to the improved defense in front of him. Ron John, Callum Jones, who I think is also making a case for maybe not rookie of the year, but if they gave out a defensive rookie of the year award, I think that he would definitely need to be in that conversation. I love his play. And I was thinking, actually, I'm almost more excited for Montreal fans to see Callum Jones play and maybe get into a fight. He loves to stick up for his teammates and get into a scrap than I am for them to see Jeff T. Just because, I know what Jeff can do and he's amazing, but let's talk about the other awesome talent on the Riptide. There is so much talent there, and a young kid who came in and is just really balling out. Great to see him, but a huge game, I think, for both teams. If the Riptide can pull this one off and beat the Rock in the way that they've been going right now, I mean, as Teddy said in his burning take, I texted him after that Buffalo game when they had won 2 of 3, and I think the Riptide very much know that they should have probably found a way to win that Panther City game about a month ago when they lost at home. They would have had, I think, it would have been, a 6 or 7 game win streak if they had just won that game. But I think that it's definitely going to be an awesome game. The Riptide are looking great, and I think that Dunkerley had a career-defining performance against San Diego. I think that performance is one that he's going to remember for the rest of his life. The Riptide are going to remember forever, and I think that if he does go on to do amazing things, which a lot of people think he will in National Lacrosse League, that is going to be a moment where people said, this was his breakout performance. That was the time where he showed us what he's capable of. And so if he can keep going at that pace, yes, throw him into the goaltender of the year conversation. But on the flip side, he's going against Nick Rose, who obviously, his numbers the past couple of years, unreal stats. But the other thing I would say, and I was looking into it, is the Riptide have faced the fourth most shots per game this season, whereas the Rock have faced, I think, the 5th or 6th least shots per game. Yeah. Now, the difference there is very minor. I'm obviously speaking a little bit hyperbolically because the difference of shots per game against is only about 3 or 4 shots per game. However, the more shots you face per game, that means the more a goaltender is needing to focus and be prepared. And the fact that I don't think it's a shot at the Riptide to say that the Rock have a better defense than the Riptide do. Yeah. So I think that helps Dunkerley in his case for potentially winning goaltender of the year again if he continues at the rate he's going.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about the Seals game because he had 52 saves and complete lockdown the second half. And like you said, it's a proverbial fork in the road if this continues. And I supported him last year, just for the record, for the Riptide fans and the Riptide faithful. Also, I feel like you saw Callum Jones. Did he level Cody Jamieson last week?
He's gotten into
That's
it.
Insane.
He's gotten into, well, not last week. Last week wouldn't have been.
Somebody he leveled last week. That was like insane.
Yeah, he's been the way he's so physical and not afraid to fight and not like afraid to back down from any challenges. You don't see that often with rookies. And so sometimes they can be a little stubborn and naive, but he really does it in a way where he's ready to go. And you see him, he's been banged up and bruised after a fight, and he's amped. He's pumped up. He's not like, what the heck did I just do? He's like, I'm ready to go again.
What is the importance of this game in Montreal? I know you touched on you've been there for a month, but this is huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, and I've written a bunch of articles on NLL.com for it. Amazing story that's going to be that's up that I got to write about the return of so many of the coaches that are now on the bench for this one. You got Bruce Codd, you got Jason Crosby, who I wrote about, and his work with kids of disabilities and with special needs, and
And you
uh,
interviewed him on your podcast.
yeah, and talked about the offense. Just, I know I've been joking about this with you, but I'll just say it again. He's a great guy, but he's an honest and real guy. There is nothing about him that is disingenuous in any way, I feel. And I just love that about him, and the way he goes about his work on and off the floor is amazing. And the way that they play, the way, he was talking to me after the Seals game, the environment in that locker room that Coach Ladisor and Pat Jones and Jason Crosby are creating. It's not only fun, it's loose, it's loving, it's caring. It's not a stern guy yelling at guys, being tough. It's understanding the best way to communicate with people to get the best out of them. And they're doing it the way that they want to be doing it. And that's all you can ask for from a great coach.
I'm glad the special needs piece was pretty awesome to see how that stuff can translate. It's like, oh, be a good human, see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it changed his perspective, and it was amazing. And the way that he utilizes it in the locker room is awesome. And also, if you haven't already, go check out my awesome Valentine's Day piece on Rylan Reese and Kylie Old-Miller, the power couple of the NLL, or the lacrosse world, Rylan being in the NLL, and Kylie playing in pro women's box, or pro women's sports, but going to be participating in the box championships this fall.
Sounds like you need some water over there, man. Give this guy some
water. Well, it's still recovering. It's finally getting back to my fullest, healthiest self. But yes, definitely water would be nice.
Nice. The Philadelphia Wings at the Las Vegas Desert Dogs. You need a break, Adam, or are you good?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
We'll keep on.
Right. Final game tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern. Who needs this game more? Two tailing teams. Las Vegas kind of got hot, and they're winning against Albany, but Philadelphia is really good. But are they?
So I think when you go directly to the question that you asked, Philly needs this win way more than Las Vegas needs this win. I don't even think it's close, in my opinion. The Desert Dogs, they're ahead of Philly in the standings. But two, you have to think about, go back to the beginning of the season. What were people like myself? I was talking about Philly as a potential championship contender if they had all their pieces together. Yeah, you were doing the same. So many of us were. Mitch Jones is a potential MVP candidate. I was singing that from the rooftops. To see where the team is, if they lose again, they're really in a place. So right now they are 2-5. If they fall to 2-6, they're in real trouble with the unified standings and with certain teams getting hot. You've got the Albanys, and we'll see what happens with them in the second half of the season. But their first half of the season sets them up really well to not need a great second half to make the playoffs. And you've got the Riptide, who I don't think people expected to be where they were. And then you've got the other teams that you do expect to be there. So it's just going to be so hard for the Wings to get into the postseason if they don't win this weekend. But I would also say it would be an important win for Las Vegas, because they head back home. They have a 1-2 record at home this season, but they are coming off a win about a month ago against San Diego in Las Vegas, which was arguably, again, one of their biggest wins of their franchise's history, beating that team at home. And so if they can start to string together more home wins and really get that fan base in Las Vegas excited, and we saw the Super Bowl, we see what's happening with all of the sports in Las Vegas. It is an amazing sports market. And so if you start getting wins, it's easy to get people in the door in Las Vegas. People want to see a show. And if they're putting on a good show, people are going to come. So I think it would be great for the future of the Las Vegas Desert Dogs if they can pull off another home win.
No, that'd be great for that franchise. And now the Super Bowl's over, and hopefully people aren't too hungover. I feel like it's a good place to be across arenas. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and get Taylor Swift to come to a game. She was more than willing to fly from Japan to see her partner play in Vegas. So, she has an apartment here, or a place here in New York City. That's not a far flight from Las Vegas. She's traveling all over the world. Get her to a game. That'll be fun.
want to just get Nikki Levy to a game. I think that'd be better.
It would be, and we are going to get her to a few games as the season comes to an end here in March and April. So Nikki will be present at some of those games, and I will hopefully be to as many games as possible as I continue to get better from all this worn downness and feeling sick that I've kind of felt on and off for a little bit now.
Shush. The Colorado Mammoth and the Albany Firewolves, the only game on Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern. I think it's a must-win for both due to shaken confidences, no matter what way you look at it. And plus, we got Doug Jamieson, who is finally coming back for the Albany Firewolves after a 1 or 2 game absence.
So, yeah, it'll be huge to get Dougie back in net. He's a very talented goaltender. Now, again, I would just say that, when you're a team that's 6-2, yes, in regards to confidence, you need that win. You can't, especially with the way that the offense, 13 goals over the last 2 games and, really underperforming, especially compared to how they performed in their first 6 games. You do need that win. However, they do have that cushion of having the 6 wins in only 8 games, and that helps a lot. Whereas Colorado, we talked about it with Philadelphia. They need that win. If you fall to 3-7 with only 8 games left, considering how the standings are right now, you're in a real bad spot for Colorado. And I know that you had talked about earlier in the week about your wanting to maybe trade Dylan Ward, get him out of there. What does he need to do? And you would feel comforted knowing the fact that there is a guy who has been calling for Dylan Ward to be traded for quite some time. Search him up. He did hashtag trade Ward. It was trending on Twitter all the time. He loved to talk about trading Dylan, but yeah, the Mammoth really need this win. They need to find a way to turn things around. So hopefully they can do that.
Give me 1 second here. I'm checking this right now. Was that really a thing, though?
Yeah, it was a huge thing, and it got a lot of pushback from people because I do see what you're saying, that Dylan has at least season over season over the last 4 years has declined in save percentage. But if you actually look at Dylan's overall save percentage for his career, including years where he was second place or third place in goaltender of the year after year, his save percentage was around this. So it's not like he had an amazing year. I think that was the COVID season where he had an 81% save percentage, but almost every season that he's played, it's been around 78, 79%.
Yeah, I see Nick Rose even poked fun at it. That's pretty awesome.
Well, goalie union, they'll either back each other up or chirp at each other, but it's all good fun with those guys.
Halifax Thunderbirds at Calgary Roughnecks. Speaking of goalies, Christian Del Bianco, who is
Del Bianco. It's
there.
Del
Bianco. Christian Del Bianco. Still dealing. I want to talk about Aaron Woods, though. How crazy of a story is this guy?
Oh, it's incredible. An undrafted 28-year-old rookie having back-to-back solid games and really providing some depth on that offense. You had mentioned, obviously, Stotts being out, and, you need someone to step up. It's, again, rookies, it sometimes takes time for them to adjust to this game. When I talk to them all the time, you might hear Preston in the background.
He's ready to make his picks.
He's trying. He's calling out for picks. Yes. But yeah, I think it's amazing to see Aaron Woods doing what he's doing. And, the other thing I would just say for Halifax also is Nunko Thompson activated, adding him on the defense, adding some depth there in front of Warren Hill. If he goes and plays, whether it's the first game of the weekend or the second game of the weekend, it'll be nice to have some more help on that back end there for them.
Adam, your voice sounds incredible right now, by the way.
Thank you. I was telling Nikki that I should consider maybe a singing career with that low sound, really kind of get that niche thing going there.
Maybe you and Taylor Swift can make a song.
No, we should. Taylor, if you're watching this, then let's do an album together. I'm all for it. I'm just up the road here in New York City. We can get together in the studio. Let's make it happen.
Didn't you make a tweet one time that was like Adam Levine recently?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Oh.
It's for a long time, and I think for the rest of my life, when I try and give myself a confidence boost and Google search my name, I'm always humbled when he pops up, and I do not. I'm on page 5 or 6, especially after Adam Levine's texting controversy that has now filled all of the Google pages.
Well, it's like if you type in Adam Levy, it says, "Did you meet Adam Levine?" No, you schmucks. I did not meet Adam Levine.
Exactly, it is exactly that.
Oh. Shout out to Lax Matrix podcast. Thank you for coming on the show, sir. As always, you were awesome.
Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, it's going to be great. I would say that I don't want to downplay the games on Saturday or Sunday, but Friday night action. It's too bad that these games are on at the same time, because these are the games to watch this weekend. Montreal, going to be amazing. It's going to be such an awesome atmosphere. I really hope it's a great game. I hope the Riptide keep rolling. I hope the Rock really buckle down and get all their pieces together, and they can both put together an awesome game. Fans are going to be in for a huge treat. It's just going to be an awesome overall experience. So for the people that are there, that's just going to be so cool for them.
I agree. Adam, enjoy the rest of your day. Get well, and I cannot wait for Preston's picks.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mike, and I will talk to you next week.
Woo! Adam Levy is cool.